Welcome back, and in this segment we will be talking about Egypt's political scene, especially in light of the visit of the South Sudanese President Salva Kiir to Egypt and meeting President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi. And joining us right now in the studio to shed more light on that topic is a political expert as well as a politician, Mr. Ahmed ElArab. Good morning, sir.
Good morning to you.
Good morning, sir. Actually, we have a number of issues to be discussed, Sudan and Palestinian cause, a lot of issues to be discussed, especially we are starting a new year, actually the year 2017. And maybe let me start with something that, talking about the recent visit of the U.S. National Security Council delegation. And there were discussions, and the president asked for the revival of the Palestinian-Israeli cause. And this is something that is really of great importance because we have different things or different issues that happened recently during the year 2016, after which we can talk about that some people are optimistic, for example, after the refusal of the Jewish settlements taking place, and later Netanyahu came out in a press conference and he was blaming the community that they are not supporting the Jewish settlements. Some people, they believe that it's going to be promising when it comes to Donald Trump administration for the Palestinian cause. And of course, we all know that the U.S. puts the Israeli interests, actually, or Israel top priority.
As usual.
Yes. So are you optimistic about the idea of the Palestinian-Israeli cause so far? Is there a possible way or a solution?
The Palestinian cause, I'm very optimistic in the long run. But I am not at all in agreement with what Fatah did for the Palestinian cause. And I told it to our dear friend Naif Hawatma, who visited ElArab. I said that you made a grave mistake by accepting to establish a state on 22% of Palestinian historical land. Mm-hmm. It means that you are giving away 78%. He said, what would we do? Remain? Yes, do what the Africans did in South Africa. In half a century, you will be a majority. And you will take the rule whether or not Israel likes. But when you put an official document giving up 78% of Palestinian, said, well, we can claim. No, you can't. If you sign out this piece of dear land of Palestine, you cannot come and say, I do it. You should have stated complete desire to be a full citizenship on the state, in the state of Israel. You have to fight to be a full citizen of the state of Israel. In 50 years, you will be the majority. No problem. But this way, unfortunately.
But are you optimistic about it? Because this is a fact. What you're talking about, this is a fact. This is what happened. But what can we do now?
I'm optimistic in the long run, but not now. Oh. Now it will come to no way. No result will come out of it.
Yes. Now, I'd like to move to another topic, which is the visit of the Sudanese President Salva Kiir to Egypt. How do you see the meeting with President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi?
First of all, I want to say heartfelt welcome to President Salva Kiir, who is a dear friend of Egypt and of ElArab. President Salva Kiir used to come regularly to our party during the time of Namari and when he was chased and they wanted to arrest him and with Jean Garang. Salva Kiir was a very solid friend of Egypt. And with the shortage of water expected, South Sudan, if you just continue the Jongoli project, you will get more water than what you lose in the Ethiopian dam.
Yes.
He is so much attached to Egypt, and he realizes that Egypt is a real friend of him, a real help he will get from Egypt because, let's be honest about it, his northern neighbor is not a friend of him.
Yes. And what about the importance of South Sudan itself? The importance of South Sudan to Egypt?
The source of the water, the source of the Nile, as I told you,
yes.
If the Jongoli Canal project is continued properly, it was stopped because of the civil war. But if it's continued properly, you will get 8 billion square meters of water, cubic meters, sorry, of water yearly. More than what you lose in the Ethiopian refilling dam, if ever the Ethiopian dam will work,
Yes.
which I have very many reservations about it.
Why?
Okay.
Why? Because the design is already wrong, and they say they are re-studying the project. It was made in a hurry. The enemies of Egypt are pushing Ethiopia to be more enemy of Egypt so that our siege will be complete. Let's face it, we are having the most vicious enemies in the world, abroad and inside Egypt. But we will make it, don't you worry.
Talking about our relation, not only talking about Arab world or the African continent, but also talking about the international relation. We have seen, for example, a recent phone call with the French President François Hollande, and there was another visit by Sameh Shoukry to Berlin, actually, and there were talks about the different files, including Libya, including Syria. Well, talking about the current idea of just how to achieve stability in the region and talking about terrorism in general, because nowadays we can see a lot of, or most of the countries, European countries now, they started to talk about terrorism, and they started to talk how we can deal with this.
Because it started to burn them. And especially the European West realizes that the only country that is really fighting sincerely terrorism is Egypt. And without the cornerstone of Egypt in this area, it would have been completely destroyed. And I'm very, very surprised, without naming names, about some of our Arab brothers who don't see the danger, who are joining in weakening Egypt. Whereas if Egypt falls, God forbid, and it will not happen, they will all go to hell.
Sir, how do you see the recent announcement by the U.S. Talking about the declaration that the Brotherhood organization to be a terrorist organization, and they started to talk about this, and actually we will have a delegation from the Parliament to go to visit the United States after 1 week after Donald Trump takes his office. Actually, how do you see this?
Well, it is internal.
How can we take benefit?
We are taking benefit without doing anything. Why? Because internal politics of inside the USA, Obama and Hillary Clinton are are in the mire of corruption, and they paid $8 billion, underline billion, dollars to the Brotherhood terrorists to win the last election. In exchange for 1/4 of Sinai. The story was 1/4 of Sinai, you will resettle the Palestinians on it, and it will be called the Islamic, whatever you call it, of Sinai. So Israel was very happy, because if you have a Muslim theological state or mini state, then a Jewish state could be justified. And now that the project has not been fulfilled, Trump's golden chance is to take Obama and Clinton to court, and they will not escape it, because there is $8 million spent from the American budget in exchange for Force of Sinai, which didn't come. And the Senate was telling them, we were dealing with the legal president at that time. So either he pays back, or Egypt pays back the $8 billion, or give us the Force of Sinai. So this is the golden chance of Trump to the Brotherhood itself as such. The plan was, you know that it was almost sure that Hillary Clinton will win the election on the 7th of November. And you remember the 11/11? The plan was, she wins, the Brotherhood goes down. And the criminal Murshid would sacrifice easily 1,000 or 2,000 in desperate demonstrations and fighting and burning the country. Then the Americans would come with a military expedition and a military ultimatum that unless you share the brotherhood in the political operation, America will have to act for humanity. Thank God she fell, and she's now destroyed and discredited, and Trump has his own interest politically in supporting Egypt in this.
So you're optimistic with Donald Trump?
Oh yes, absolutely. Not that he is a dear friend with whom we can have dinner. No. America is America. But for internal American politics, Trump is a very good card for us. Remember that when he met President Sisi in New York before he became president, the first thing he said, I like you, man, I trust you. You will be my first guest in the White House. Straightforward. Because he knows that to destroy his rivals in the Democratic Party, the best thing is to pump into what Egypt did. And is doing still. France and Germany, on the other hand, knows that the fire of terrorism will burn them, absolutely, unless they help Egypt. Look at Turkey, which started all of it, which started Daesh or financed Daesh, and the mini state of so-called Qatar financing it. Now they're all suffering, getting back what they have planted.
Yes. Now, Mr. Ahmed, how do you see Egypt's political endeavors? Do you feel that in terms of our international relations, we're on the right track, we're doing the right thing?
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, if we have shortage inside and suffering, that's quite normal when you have the entire Western world is making a siege on Egypt. What happened to Muhammad Ali is being repeated. What happened to ElArab is being repeated. What happened to Nasser is being repeated. They will never be friends because our renaissance will mean their decline. And they are not ready to decline. France is a very good friend and gave us 2 aircraft carriers, blah, blah, blah. But remember that it was France who killed Gaddafi and who is after Libya's eastern oil. Let's not idealize such people. They have we have no permanent friends or permanent enemies. We have permanent interests. And for the moment, France and Germany in particular, their interest is because of the refugee problem and because of terrorism. You see what happened in the French theater the other month or last year.
Yes.
So we can say that the whole world, they speak one language, that is the word mutual interests. If they have their own, because definitely they will put their own interests as top priority. And talking about the current economic challenges Egypt is facing right now.
We have to suffer and
Right. How can we take benefit out of this? How can we work on this, for example? Because whenever we talk about any challenge, when we talk about a challenge, there is a way, of course, to divert, to take benefit of something. Even if this is a weakness or something, we try to change it into a strength, for example.
The end of 2017, there will be the flow of the gas, which will be a very big boom to our economy. Bear in mind that after 67, Egypt was in a worse situation than now. But the people realized that we are in war. Now we are in a vicious war, and people have to understand. Why they are not understanding? Because all the intelligence services activities inside Egypt and all the so-called, I'm not naming names, but I'm saying the so-called intelligentsia, they're serving foreign interests, they're serving foreign agendas. And of course the brotherhood criminals are doing, this was not the case in 67, but now it is. although we had worse situation than now. But our duty is to explain and explain and explain to people. We have to suffer, we have to also, but we have to share suffering. You don't put all on the poor.
Yes.
There should be progressive tax. There should be many things to be done.
Yes.
Sisi is great when it comes to foreign policy.
Yes,
But inside,
well, we have unfortunately to wrap it up. Thank you very much, politician as well as political expert, Mr. Ahmed ElArab. Thank you very much for this interview.
thank you.
Well, and we will be going out for a quick break and we'll be back for more, so stay with us on Breakfast Show.
And don't